Okay. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Waha, Rakakwadash. My name is Brother Ariel Judah from Honolulu, Hawaii. Um, just coming at you with a quick video, uh, specifically for the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, or those of the 12 tribes of Israel. I recently got home from work, and after I got home, the Spirit was moving me to think about what it means to become a man. You know, in this world we live in today, this evil, wicked Babylon the Great. Everybody has an opinion on what it means to become a man. Professional athletes think once they make some money and buy their mama a house and can buy cars and jewelry and all this stuff, they think that's what makes them a man. Jake in this world thinks, smoking weed and getting all the box or forgive the language, getting all the pussy you can, they think that makes them become a man. Well, in the scriptures, it lets us know what it means to become a man. So I'm going to read from 1 Kings chapter 2, and I'm going to start at the top. It says, "Now the days of David drew near that he should die. And he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be strong, therefore, and prove yourself a man." Now I'm going to go back the first book of Kings, chapter 1, which explains David was, he was up in years. He was pretty old at this time, and basically he was about to die. He was on his deathbed. So 1 Kings chapter 1, 1 Kings chapter 1 and verse 1, and that reads, "Now King David was old, advanced in years, and they put covers on him, but he could not get warm." Okay, so he was pretty old. He was obviously on his deathbed. I believe he was maybe 70 years old or whatever. Let me see, Second Chronicles chapter 23, verse 1. First Chronicles chapter 23, verse 1. Let's see what that says, in particular how old he was. Let's see, First Chronicles chapter 23 and verse 1 says, "So when David was old and full of days, he made Solomon his son king over Israel." Okay, so it doesn't say how old he was, but he was old. David lived a pretty good life. King of Israel, I believe, was 40 years, if I'm not mistaken. But he was getting up in years. He was older man now. He was laying on his deathbed, about to take his his last breaths or whatever. So again, I'm going to read 1 Kings chapter 2 and verse 1. "Now the days of David drew near that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be strong, therefore, and prove yourself a man." So he's about to give him instructions on what it means to become a man. Verse 3, "And keep the charge of the Lord, Yahweh, your power, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes, his commandments, his judgments, and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses." Okay, "that you may prosper in all that you do and wherever you turn." Verse 4, and this is 1 Kings chapter 2 and verse 4, "that the Lord may fulfill his word, which he spoke concerning me." So David is telling him, this is what Yahweh Shimei Shai told me. This is how you stay successful. This is what it means to become a man. The Most High told him, he said, "If your sons take heed to their way, to walk before me in truth with all their heart and with all their soul, you shall not lack a man on the throne of Israel." Okay, so what does it mean to become a man? What does it mean to be a man? Verse 3, 1 Kings chapter 2 and verse 3, he told Solomon on his deathbed. So you can imagine, if you have a son and you're dying, you're not going to be here too much longer, you give him the last words, the best advice you can possibly give your son. And the best advice that King David at this time gave his son Solomon, Salakia, was to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. He said, the Most High told me, King David said, the Most High told me, if your sons keep my laws and my statutes and commandments, they will be as successful on the throne as you. Again, I'm going to start at the top. Now the days of David drew near that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, now that word charged is a Hebrew word that means command. So he wasn't asking him to keep the commandments. He wasn't just advising him to keep the commandments. He was commanding him to keep the commandments. It says, now the days of David drew near that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be strong, therefore, and prove yourself a man. Prove yourself a man. How do you prove yourself a man? Verse 3, and keep the charge, the command of the Lord Yahweh your power, to do what? To walk in his ways, to keep his statutes, his commandments, his judgments, and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that you may prosper in all that you do and wherever you turn. Verse 4, that the Lord may fulfill his word which he spoke concerning me, if your sons take heed to their way, to walk before me in truth with all their heart or their mind and with all their soul, he said, you shall not lack a man on the throne of Israel. So how do you become a man? What does it mean to become a man? We know the real men on this earth are the men of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, who we do our best to keep these laws, these statutes, and these commandments. So once again, in closing, what does it mean to become a man? What is a real man? Well, according to the scriptures, according to the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, verse 3, keep the charge of the Lord Yahweh your power, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes, his commandments, his judgments, and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses. So, real men are only the men of the Lord, who strive to keep his laws, statutes, and his commandments. Okay? And that's what it means to become a real man. If you're doing your best to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, then you are a real man. Not smoking weed, not chasing box, pussy or whatever, not making money and being successful in Esau's world. All that is vanity. You know, the book of Ecclesiastes, which King Solomon wrote, who we know was Yahushai reincarnated, he said he did everything under the sun, roughly paraphrasing, and it was all vanity. Okay? Real men keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Period. And how do we know? 1 Kings chapter 2, start at the top from verse 2 to verse 3. Okay, that's all I have for this video. I didn't plan on it being that long. I hope any and all who watched it, specifically the brothers and sisters, all the Akim, I hope you find it edifying. And remember, real men and women keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai according to the scriptures. 1 Kings chapter 2, start at the top. Shalom.